Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to start our perennial journal. So this week, the first week of July, we're doing the theme of Postal. The Postal theme is based on Postal Workers Day being on July 1st. Now it's not about Postal Workers Day at all, unless you want it to be. What it is, it's more of like a springboard. It's something to get your imagination flowing, to give you a starting point for you to have an idea of what you want to do with the page. And for this week, once again, it is Postal. So for Postal, the direction that I went was this. I found a vintage post box that I just loved. And so what I did, I created a printable that I was able to then make this post box. This post box is 3D. It has dimension to it so that you can put things inside of it. And this is kind of just something that I did with a page. I'm not necessarily going to keep this page looking like this, but it's just the first thing that I came up with as I was playing around with the idea. You can do whatever you want. Now for this page also, I'll point out, you can do it in a traditional type of a junk journal book, right, with traditional pages. You could do it on an altered book page. What I'm really saying is you can do it on any format that you want. I'm choosing to do it on individual pages like this, okay, so that I can mix and match and just do different things with my pages. So that's what I'm going to be doing here, but do it however you like. So right now today, what we're going to be doing is making this. So I have the printouts. Right now they're available for you on my Facebook page. I might have them available someplace else if I figure it out, but for now that's where you can get them if you want to. You don't have to do your page like this at all. This is just how I'm doing it, and I'm offering it up to you. So what I want to point out, that these are two printables, the exact same printables, but they were printed out from different parts of my computer. So depending on what you're using to print it out and your printer and all those kind of things, they do just different things with the settings. So even though these are identical printout, they printed differently. Can you see the edge from this one and this one? This one, when it printed, even though it's the exact same PDF, it added extra space. So it squished up my printable into a smaller format. So you can also see that at the top of the pocket. It's got a smaller area at the top. And that's all okay. Just be aware that that might be happening with you as you print yours. I couldn't figure out how to adjust it so that it wouldn't create that extra space around here. And it's all okay. So if yours does that, just know it's all okay. I'm going to show you how to do it without it even being a problem. So go ahead and take your printable. And also I want to show you real quick. Look at this one, how it has lines in it, and this one doesn't have those lines in it. I don't know if that's picking up, but it's the same printable, but on the different printing, I thought I was out of ink. It wasn't that I was out of ink. It had to do with the printing format that I did it in. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, take your printable and go ahead and cut it out. You're going to just fussy cut around this one. You can use your cutting board, cut that out. You're going to fussy cut around this. You're going to fussy cut around your pocket. When you cut your pocket, don't worry about cutting off that white edge for now. Just go ahead and leave that. Leave that at the top as a little extra space to work with. Okay, let's cut it out, and then we'll begin. Okay, here are my pieces all cut out. Let's start working with this piece because it's going to be the major anchor, if you will, to your page. If you have a scoreboard, go ahead and pull out your scoreboard. That's really the best way to do it. If you don't have a scoreboard, I will discuss next of how you can do it. And once you have your scoreboard here, I want you to take a look at your piece because it's going to be a little bit different potentially of however it printed out on your machine. There's some natural lines that you're going to see that are a little bit sharper in your piece. So on the P side, go ahead and go to that top line where you see the difference between the dark and the light. There's kind of a sharp line there. At that point, you want to make a line. So line it up with one of your areas and make a line down there. Then from that point, so like I have it at the 1, although it's a little bit off the edge on the left. So at that point, go a 1/4 inch over to the next black line. So now you have that, and then you go a 1/4 inch over, so I'm at a 1/2 inch. So I have 2 1/4 inches lines, 1, 2, and then I should have around a 1/2 inch left at that edge. So when we rotate it over, on the other side, you're going to see a line, a dark line, where you see a little variation between the two sides. Go to that dark line and kind of find a place where it matches up, like by the 1. Mine matches up pretty close to the 1, but I have to scoot it a little bit so that I can make my mark down that line. Once you have that mark, hold it in place and move it a 1/4 inch to the left, and then 1/4 inch more. Our goal is to have about a 1/2 inch left on this side, but depending how on your printer, how it prints, you might not have that space, but whatever you have is what you have, and it's good. Once you have those, place your thing on the bottom. The lines are going this way, okay? And then you're going to do another line. So this one also, find a line that matches with that bottom area there. I have to turn my board around, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to find a line that kind of matches with that area, and I'm going to score that line. So I'm trying to find actually a ridge. There we go. So with this one, I don't have to do multiples. All I need is that one line, and that's good to go. You could even fold that bottom one by hand, to be honest. If you don't have a scoreboard, what you want to do is find that line and take your ruler and like maybe a sharp edge, like this paintbrush has a sharp kind of edge, or I don't know, not edge, but point, a sharp pointed thing. Or if you have a stylist or something like that. Put your ruler to the edge there, and then go ahead and mark that like that. Make a ridge, because then you have a space that you can fold it on. And then you do that all around, doing the exact same thing that I did on the other one. Line up that space that we talked about. Make sure it's kind of a straight line. And then take your pointy thing. Let's see, I could even take my scissors if I were gentle not to pierce it down. Whatever you do, you just want to find something that's going to pierce it down a little bit to make a ridge. I could try that. That works nicely for me. And then move it over a 1/4 inch. So like if you have to measure with your ruler, a 1/4 inch, make a mark, and then put it there, and then you score it. So you do the same thing. And so this is kind of what the back looks like. Okay, so there you go. Once you have that, you can find your lines on the back. So I have those lines there, and I'm going to start folding at that first line. At the next line, I'm going to fold in, and the next line goes in the opposite direction. So that you have, so it looks like that. So this bottom part is going to be what's glued down to the paper, and then you'll have that little gusset there. So I'm going to do that on the other side. Fold in. Oh, so I have a feeling that one of the things I used on the paper actually probably wasn't good. My paper split a little bit. Okay, I'm getting distracted there. Okay, so fold in the other direction, then fold back in. And I have my bottom fold. What you want to do at this point, there's a big rectangle. I want to take the bottom edge and then the last ridge going up. So I'm going to cut that section out. So I've got the one ridge going that edge, and then this whole bottom line, I'm just going to go cut along that bottom line so that I have that. Now that I have that is where the fun begins. This is going to be the base that I'm going to be putting it on. If you have score tape, this is an excellent time to use score tape. I know some of you guys are mini bookmakers, and so this would be something that you would have in your stash. Score tape right now is excellent. If you don't have score tape, use a strong glue that's going to hold it in place, because you have some movement that wants to happen naturally from your cardboard. Not cardboard, but your cardstock. I'm going to use, at this point, I'm going to use my tape. So first what I want to do is put my tape down right here in the midsection of my strip. The reason we did a 1/2 inch is it gives us a little bit more room to work with to get the tape on and then to get it secured down to the base. And then I'm going to put some on the bottom. At this point, go ahead and I want to press it down to make sure it kind of gets into the fibers of the paper. Turn it up. So I'm going to open up just a little bottom portion of this, just enough so that I can close this up on it. If you want to, you can actually take your scissors to an angle just a little bit off the bottom so that it's not going to interfere there. But if you don't, it's no big deal. On this side I didn't. Okay, so I've got that nice and secured. And at this point what I want to do is look for any areas that might want to be inked up. And that top edge is really the only one that needs it. I can do it on the rest though. I can make a nice edge with, I'll do that. I can go along the edge and make just a little bit more definition so when I place it down. Okay, I've got that nicely done. On my piece, this dark part is the bottom, this fancy part is the top. You can see kind of a natural line at the bottom where there's the color variation. I left that there so we could kind of see. So what you want to do is kind of center it out of where you want to place it. Find an area that kind of looks good. Then take your tape, like I have a little pulled open on both sides here, and I can do that on the bottom as well. Position it where I want it, down by that line. Make sure it's kind of straight looking. And then I'm going to press down and I'm going to pull the tapes so that it'll be in place. Now if you need to glue this, that's okay, but you do need to make sure that you hold it into place to give it time to really secure. I did this one with glue right here, and I had to really make sure that I held on to it. Alright, now we're ready for the next part. On this next part here, we're going to score it along that top line right there. Get my scoreboard out again. If you don't have one of these, they're really quite great. Okay, get my scoreboard out and then find a spot where it's going to score along that line. Once I have that line, I want to move in 1/4 more inch and make a score. Let's see what I've got. Nice. So see, I have that space. So I have plenty more space, more than I actually need, which is perfect. Okay. At this point, we have this white edge here, right? This whole white backing. I don't want that to be all white. I'm going to start out by inking it up and just kind of giving it a little bit of life. And then what I want to do is grab a stencil. I'm going to use this one. It's a Tim Holtz stencil. And how do I want to position it? I'm going to position it right there. Perfect. But you can do whatever. You can stamp on it. You can put paper on it. You know, you can do whatever you want just to kind of add some interest to that portion of your flap. Okay, now we're ready. Let's take a look at what I've got. So that goes right to the edge of my post, but it goes out a little bit beyond because this top part's a little bit wider so that it'll cover over everything. So what I want to do is just slightly, what's hanging on there? I want to slightly angle that corner and slightly angle this quarter. It might be like 1/4 of an inch. Not a quarter, excuse me, 1/8 of an inch. Not 1/4 of an inch. And that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just ink that edge a little bit more. And now I'm set. I'm ready to go ahead and glue. This portion here you can glue down. It's not necessarily to use the score tape. Score tape is awesome, but it's not always necessary. Okay, get your glue on, and I'm going to position it there and there. And then I have my box. If you want to, you can position it touching your box, or you can position it so that it touches that top line. Either way is fine. There's no right or there's no wrong way. I chose to do it that way. So now I have my box. Pretty cool, huh? I love this little box. So the inside of it, you'll want to take your ruler and just verify for your own, because it might be different on your printer, just saying. Mine is, I would cut 3.5 inches by 5 inches. So 3.5 by 5 inch piece I can put in there of an envelope. So on another day we're going to be making envelopes, so we can make an envelope that will go in here. You could also take a postcard. This is just a little postcard stamp that I have. I don't know if it'll fit in there, and it does fit in there. So we can put a variety of things in there, so when it goes on your page, you can open it up and you can pull things out. So what I want you to do today now, we're not going to glue it on. I want you to think about what you're going to do and maybe just work on it in between now and then, is this is a half sheet. This is cardstock, and it's a half sheet. So cut your sheet in half, and that's going to be what you're going to use. Well, if you want to do it this way, that's what you're going to use. And you want to think about how you want to decorate it. So that with this one, I just used ink on it. I took some white acrylic paint and I, scuffed that around it. And I also took a word stamp and I stamped that on it. So it gives it just kind of a rusted look. That might not be the look that you want. You might want to like put some music paper behind it, or you might want to put a pretty print paper behind it, or maybe doilies, or I don't know, use your imagination. This is your playground. This is where you're just going to make something fun and let your imagination go. So one thing to keep in mind, it's not crucial, but when we actually put this on our paper, we're only going to glue on this area, an L area, so we can scoot something behind the post box. Just like, I don't know about you, but when we had a mailbox, we would put stuff at the top so that when the mailman came, he could grab it. Also, if you want to leave like a ½ inch on this side to allow for either punching, if you want to make a spiral bound, or later on, what you can do is just use strips where you would take a 1-inch piece of paper, fold it in half, and then you have a binding strip, and you would put that on the edge when you're ready, and then you would connect up your pages like that. So either way is great. Those are two options for you, so just keep that in mind. Make sure you leave that little space there if you're doing it this way. If you're doing it just within a journal, you don't need that space. You can just do it straight up to the spine. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. You can find this right now, you can find this over at my Facebook page. If you'd like to get that, you certainly don't have to. You can do whatever you want with the page that you want. We're going to be also then concentrating on writing. So as you're making this, think about your history, your memories, your thoughts, and what you might want to write down, because I really do want you to write down and journal it. So like if this were a flower, what we have on here is the petals, and your words are the fragrance. Your words are the fragrance. So we want to make sure that we complete that beauty and have it available for you to read later, or for your loved ones to read later and then read about you. So hope you have a great day, and we'll meet up again really soon, okay? Love to hear your comments below. Let me know what you think. So talk to you later. Bye.